Okay, Temple City High School Boys and Girls State American Legion Conference attendance.
Hi, good evening. I'm Debbie Singh, one of the guidance counselors at Temple City High School. And with me tonight, I have several of our students who were selected to represent Temple City High School at the Boys and Girls State program. Now, the Boys and Girls State programs are selective educational programs of government instruction for high school students. This is a participatory program in which students become part of the operation of local, county, and state government. The selection process begins during the month of January, in which teachers are asked to nominate 3 junior boys and 3 junior girls based on the following criteria: outstanding citizenship, interest in politics and government. For the guys, it's a GPA of 3.5 or higher, and for the ladies, a GPA of 3.0 or higher. In addition, our teachers are asked to state the reason for their nomination. Soon after nominations are submitted, they are reviewed and students are selected to participate in an interview with the American Legion Auxiliary representatives. Last year, 4 young ladies were selected, and Ms. Carly Fang was selected to represent us at the California Girls State Annual Session at Claremont McKenna College. Our gentlemen also participated in a similar interview, impressed our representative so well that he decided to fund all 5 students to represent Temple City High School at the annual session that took place at Cal State University, Sacramento. With me this evening, I have Carly Finney, David Breckville, Max Clark, Robert Kutras, Alex Liu, and Jason Yang, so they can share with you their experience at the annual session that took place this last summer. Carly?
When I first arrived at Girls State, I was intimidated. There were so many young women who were so well-spoken and so well-rounded, and I thought to myself, how lucky am I to be surrounded by so many young women who are going to influence the world someday. One of my most favorite things about Girls State was the safe and supportive environment in which I was able to practice my public speaking skills. I learned a lot through my successes and my failures at Girls State. And so one of the mottos of Girls State during elections is, when an individual loses an election, one of the mottos is, "Great, what's next?" And so I tried out for the House of Representatives, and I didn't get it. And so I said, "Great, what's next?" And so what's next for me was the Board of Supervisors. And on the Board of Supervisors, what we did was basically make laws for the county and just make sure everything was running smoothly in our counties. And one of our most controversial laws was that Girls Staters are not allowed to say or like during county meetings. This law didn't hold up very very long. And so one of my most favorite nights of Girls State was the talent show. I participated in the talent show and I played piano. I really enjoyed sharing my music with all the 500 Girls Staters, and that night was so special to me because there was such a positive energy in the room. It was almost like electric, and it was definitely a night I will remember. And it was so surprising to me how in a span of a week, I was able to form such close relationships with my fellow Girls Staters. I still speak with some of my Girls State delegates, and I know that I will be in contact with them for a really long time. And so I would just like to thank you all for believing in the students of Temple City High School, because without your support, there wouldn't be opportunities like Girls State and Boys State to change our lives. So thank you so much.
Hi, my name is David Brackville. I just want to let you know that Boys State was a lot more relaxed than Girls State. We never had any rules like that, and we also got to wear whatever we wanted to. So, and I think Girls State had a dress code. Is that right? No. Oh, I had read that in the Boys State newspaper. I was not factual. I'm not very into leadership. I think the highest leadership position I have in school is opinion editor at the newspaper. So I kind of went more to figure out about, find out about politics. I was more of a fly on the wall, and I ended up learning a lot about politics. So I discovered there was such a thing as a county government. I had never known that before. I thought it was maybe local, and then you have state, and then you have national. So there's a county government. And the county government at Boise State was actually very important because they had what was called the city coroner, and the city coroner could declare people dead. So what a lot of people did is they went to their city coroner, their county coroner, and they would say, I don't like this guy, can he die in a fire? And they said yes, and they got the paperwork filled out, and it was done. That guy was dead. It was a great environment to be in. It was a lot of fun. A lot of boys who were very kind of innovative and intelligent, and above all, very, very leadershipy in roles that really allowed them to facilitate those traits. And so it was a lot of people who were very smart and very savvy, kind of working within a system to let them develop that. So it was great to watch. It was fun to be a part of. We had law cases where lawyers would go head to head against each other. It was fun to watch people practice their public speaking skills, something I'm not as good at, but I enjoyed watching other people do that. It was a great bonding experience because we had 4 other guys from their school, so we got to kind of learn more about each other in the 7 days that we had. So it was a lot of fun.
Hi, my name is Max Clark, and I'm a senior currently at Temple City High School. So for all of us, Boise State started late. Was it a Saturday night?
It was Friday.
Okay,
Friday
late Friday night. So we got in a bus and went all night. We drove throughout the night to Sacramento, which that was a pretty crazy bus ride. But by the time we got there, everybody was tired. And I don't know if they did that on purpose, but it worked out well. Because then when you're meeting these new guys for the first time, guys your age, there's always some little sense of competition there. Everybody's tired, everybody's on the same boat. So that was the first thing that happened. When I got there, I was lucky enough to have the really nice dorm. So I only shared a shower with one person, and I got air conditioning, and it was great. None of these other guys did. They didn't get as lucky as me. So that was a big plus for my time. So, and another big thing for me there is you had a lot of freedom. So in class simulations or class games you play in your government class and stuff like that, you don't get as much freedom. So we actually got to make whatever laws we wanted, as crazy as they were, and got to see how they failed, how they succeeded, and what worked and what didn't. So that was a really integral part for me. Like David said, we're split up into city, county, and state levels. So that was really cool. And I ran for a state level for California State Assembly, and I got it. So that was another part of the really interesting part for me, because you got to see so many times in the news and everything, you say, oh, the government's working so slow, nothing's getting done. But you kind of learned that it's kind of designed to work that way. Just being in there, to make one law, it took almost half an hour for us on our first day, just getting used to things and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that part of it, because it wasn't so much learning about partisan politics and different political issues that are prevalent today. It was learning about how these things work and how it functions. And a lot of times in my government class, that's very boring to learn about. But being able to do it, having that freedom to do it, that was what I really enjoyed. And also making relationships with people all around the state. I did not realize how many farmers come from California. I met so many people who live on big farms, and one guy, Alex was telling me about it. He woke up really early one morning, and one guy was up 5 in the morning because that's when he usually gets up to milk the cows. So it was just cool to see all the different types of people there. And yeah.
So California Boys State, oh, I'm Robert Hutchinson. California Boys State was the best program I've ever been a part of, just because of the environment. There was a lot of boys there, enough to where for the bus trip over, we were supposed to go to a Denny's at about 3 in the morning, and I find out that if you bring about 40 boys on a bus, they'll just not serve you. They'll just say, we don't have enough people. So, but yeah, I got to learn a lot about the political system at a county level and a city level, which I was really ignorant to. And I got to learn a lot about public speaking, but the biggest part was just the really friendly people. You could go up and talk to anyone, and they would just, they would just talk to you for as long as you wanted. They were just the friendliest people I've ever met. And a lot of them I'm still talking to on things like Facebook, still keeping contact with them. And I think I will for a lot longer. So yeah, thank you so much for letting me be a part of that. It was the best experience I've ever had, I think.
Hi, I'm Alex. I think at Boise State, out of all these guys, I lived in the craziest dorm. So just imagine this for a second. You're taking 500 boys from across the state, 500 17-year-old boys across the state, and you're sending them into these college dorms, and you're saying, hey, you know what, you make the rules. So, so some guys had some crazy things in mind. I know Jason here, his city made a law that right turns were illegal. So, actually no, left turns were illegal. So if you wanted to make a left, you had to do a full this. So, and some of the things were quite outrageous. But the coolest thing for me was that I got to reunite with one of my best friends from elementary school. He, I think he moved in 7th or 8th grade, and then he was nominated for this thing. And then I saw him on Facebook a week before saying that, oh, I got nominated. I was like, hey, cool, I got nominated too. I guess I'll see you there. And we ended up spending a lot of time together, and he actually met a lot of these guys here. And something that they always said at Boise State that I found out to be very true was that once you are a boys or girls state delegate, you're that for life. So when you're going around and you're making connections, you know, you're applying for a job interview, something like that, you're like, oh, hey, I was a Boise State delegate, and then the other guys say, oh, hey, cool, me too. And I feel like that's something that's really special, that's really cool, and overall it was really nice meeting new people and networking. So, because these people at Girls State and Boise State are a select few people, and eventually going to be probably the next leaders of America, probably the next governor and the next president was there. So it was really nice being able to meet these new people, and I'm still in touch with many today.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jason Yang. They already told you a lot of things about Boise State, so I'm just going to tell you how I felt the whole time. I imagined this to be a really scary place with a bunch of leaders. They selected 1,000 top leaders from California, and they put them all together. So I expected everything to be serious. So it was, I went on the bus at like around 12, and I didn't sleep the whole night. I was really tired and hungry. Got to Denny's, like they said. I was worried, like before we went into the plaza, I was worried, how are they gonna serve us all? And I saw another bus come in, and another one. There were 3 buses there, so there were like around 1,000, no, not 1,000, more than 100 people there, and they had 2 people serving us. It was, their faces were priceless. When you walk in there, you just see them, they're just like they have to deal with that every summer. So I didn't get any food. I wasn't happy, and I didn't get any sleep. I went there, didn't have a good start. I walked into my dorm. I don't know how to explain it. It looked kind of like a jail. I had a bed and a table, and I didn't think it would be that bad. So I thought everyone's dorm was like that, and I went to their dorm. There's a kitchen, living room, all kinds of crazy stuff. They have a bathroom for 3 people to share. For us, a whole floor of guys have to share one bathroom. There are no curtains. You have to shower like that, and like what they said, we had crazy rules. Like my city was crazy. I didn't really like them, but it was fun. You can't turn left rule, and there's another rule that's if you get out of your dorm, you have to yell where you're going. So it would be like, open my door, I'm going to the restroom. And you have to yell for the whole floor to hear you. And didn't really like that, but honestly, this experience, it just tells you how the government actually works. Like these people can just make these rules, and if they pass them, they become rules, and you just have to follow them. And if you don't, you get penalized. And actually, if it sounds kind of bad, it's actually not that bad. I actually like this experience a lot, and the greatest thing I really appreciate is these people over here. I got to know them a lot, and I got to learn how the government works and everything. It's wonderful in a special way for me, and I would describe it. I probably will never forget this experience. Like a week after that camp, I didn't know how to turn left. I didn't know how to do it. Like I wasn't bad. But yeah, but it was really fun, and 1,000 young boys just made it my summer, and it was great. So it's wonderful. Thank you guys.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for representing us so well. We appreciate that. I learned a lot I knew quite a bit about Girl State. Boy State sounds like a lot more fun. So, but thank you for proudly representing us. We trust that you did such. So, we have a small certificate for each one of you, and also with Carly and Debbie. Thank you so much for bringing the students tonight. We're very proud of them. So, thank you.
Mr. President, can I make a comment, please? I just want to say it is very impressive that 6 of our students were selected. I think it's usually 1 young lady and 1 young man. So it says a lot about our community and I think our students. It's also not lost on me that there's 6 of you there. There's only 5 of us on the board and 5 on the city council. So you guys are headed to some great places, I suspect. And I also appreciate what this program does. My son had an opportunity to represent Temple City High School. He was appointed the city attorney, and he had a great time. It's a great program. It's really dynamic, and I'm real pleased for your participation.
I would also like to say that it's thanks to the American Legion and Legion Auxiliary that we get to go. So thanks to those veterans for their service and for letting us have this opportunity.
All right, we want a picture with you. Okay, thank you all. Congratulations. More great representatives of our community. We will move on now to our next special recognition presentation, the Temple City National Little League 9 and 10-year-old All-Stars. This is going to be really cute.
So first, on behalf of our team, we'd like to thank you guys for bringing us here tonight to acknowledge us. This is the 9 and 10-year-old All-Star team from the Temple City National Little League, which is the league that plays at Longview Elementary School. They had quite an accomplishment this last summer. They got together and won their District 18 championship, moved on to Section 3, won the Section 3 championship, and went all the way to the state sub-division tournament, which is the farthest our league has ever gone in the history of our league. So quite an accomplishment. They've been working hard. Great group of parents to go along with the players. And just, again, thank you very much. They're very proud to represent the city.
Yes, and thank you for bringing the students. We have certificates for them as well, and as we give them to them, if they can come right up here in the front, then we'll take a photo. Correct, Mr. J? Thank you.
Okay, number 7, Akaika Amorin. Number 23, Dean Ballou. Number 00, Anthony Bailey. Number 27, Andrew Boki. Number 34, Jared Quadras. Number 33, Jacob Duhamel. Number 50, Danny Finan. Number 19, Valentino Gomez. Number 32, Nathan Mena. Number 31, Aaron Madrid. Number 10, Jason Toledo. And number 3, Gabriel Viescas. And my great Brandon. And Coach Dean Baloo.
Dustin, thank you for the opportunity for the students. We believe it's like a farm team, so we appreciate that. It's definitely gives students an additional opportunity out in the community and also helps encourage the importance of teamwork, sportsmanship, athletics, and character. So thank you for your work, and we just have a small certificate for you as well.
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay, thank you. Moving on. Item number 11 is public comment. Do we have any requests for public comment? None. Okay, all right, moving on. Item number 12, update on district issues, business services. Ms. Sorrell.
Nothing to report tonight?
Thank you. Educational services, Dr. Franciscini.
Yes, a quick reminder that tomorrow night we have a parent community forum at Temple City High School starting at 7 o'clock. And so we invite the board and community members to attend. The topic is on facility bond review and everything you need to know about the new testing system. Thank you.
Thank you. Personnel services, Mr. Kuna.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Moving on. Bargaining unit comments. Temple City Education Association. No? Okay. Let's see. CSEA 105 or CSEA 823. Okay. Student board member comments. Ms. Weiss.
Yes, I would just like to thank you all for participating in the joint board meeting that took place earlier tonight. It was very beneficial for our ASB, for public speaking and just getting to know the school board, and we look forward to future talks with you guys. I know we plan on having Ms. Perini come in 2 weeks for our ASB formal meeting, and Mr. Pomeroy suggested that the rest of the board come another day and see how ASB works out. Maybe learn how to put up a few posters, make a few, do a little school walkthrough. So I think that's something that we can definitely plan in the future. Thank you very much for tonight.
Thank you. Okay, non-student board member comments. Mr. Tiet?
I am a student.
You are, that's true.
Well, I think first of all, I want to thank Bailey and the ASB for coming in earlier this evening and having such a wonderful meeting with us. It's always good to have our students here, our high school students, and see their enthusiasm and see them grow over the years, because I've been here 4 years now, and some of the folks I remember as a freshman,
thank the ASB for their presentation at 5 o'clock today. And just a couple of quick comments. I was fortunate enough to attend the Committee Festival kickoff. And Jerry had a slide presentation, like 400 and so on slides that he went through. And kind of a testimony to last year's parade and all the people who volunteered, including a lot of the school kids and some of the board members who were also in the snapshot. A judge by one of the, I think one of the committee, committee full of judges was there saw the pictures. Also, I had fortunate enough to attend the Historical Society in the spring. He gave a presentation on both the schools and the Rose Parade. And it was clear, I think everybody there, her passion for both the school and the Rose Parade. And it came across well received, I think, by those who were present. Also, I went to the meeting on Rachel's Challenge at Longden yesterday, and they had a special program where they had lectures in, I think, 4 classrooms, and then they had a special presentation for adults in the evening about Rachel's Challenge. And there was an example, one of the examples that they didn't do there, but that was pointed out was at Temple City High School when the JVs played Monrovia. One of our students, I guess, who played, has some special needs, and the coach on Monrovia did some discussions with our coach, and our player happened to make a touchdown for our team. We still lost the game, but the person offered a challenge that be able to pass on some kindness to somebody else. It didn't cost anything. It seemed like a very worthwhile project. I think the parents who attended yesterday enjoyed it, and it's rather emotional, I guess. Some of the stories in that, and Rachel happened to be one of the people who was killed at the shooting at Columbine 16 years ago or something like that. She was the first student to die. About, I think, 13. And also at Longden School, where this was held in the Memorial Hall, you could see the 2 new tigers that have been put on the wall aboard the exit signs, and they're now planning for a mural on the outside. Part of this is because of the fundraising by the PTA, which makes the school, at least with the tigers, that equivalent to some of the other schools that have their logos up in nice big size print. And let's see. Also, just a reminder, this Saturday at high school in Flint Ridge area, they're going to have a robotics contest from 9 to 3, I think it is. And then on the 14th at Longden in November, they're going to also have a robotics demonstration or contest, I guess, for real that Longden is hosting. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Member Ridley.
Thank you. Well, I just want to echo those comments.
again, all these things just continue to reiterate our roles here and the reasons why we do them. So I also want to thank Ms. Gould and the staff at Oak Avenue. I had an opportunity to spend last Friday the whole day when they were trying out some new technology with virtual reality. And beyond that, I think Google had some challenges getting the proper amount of equipment in, but I think Oak did a fantastic job of adjusting on the fly, so to speak, and a good bunch of the kids got a chance to experience that. And I actually did get some feedback from some of these kids, and they were thrilled to see new technology being employed. I think in their world, they see it as a positive benefit. So thank you very much, Ms. Gould and your team. Halloween is around the corner. I think a lot of sites are busy. You have the high school drive-in, Ghostbusters. Yeah, all right. And so I think some of the other sites are doing the same thing. I will be busy as well. So happy Halloween to everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bell. Okay, well, I echo my colleagues' comments. It was great to have the joint meeting with the ASB from the high school as a spirited group, as some of you were here for that. Not only did I see, well, I've only been here 2 years, so I saw students that I had seen last year, so they look a little bit older, but I did see a young woman that I had coached in soccer when she was 5 years old. Now she's on ASB in the high school. So she and the others are impressive, and we enjoyed that. And at some point, the board, if we could have a meeting with them at the high school itself, perhaps that could be beneficial. We shall see. I wanted to point out the Fall Festival put on by the city. There were a number of performances by groups from the high school and also from Oak. And the high school, well, PEP and flags and auxiliaries were performing, the band, of course, and vocal arts. You know, we had a young man stand up at the band shell of Temple City Park and sing American Pie with a guitar, which was amazing. Vocal arts had a silent auction, and I bid on the basket of Temple City Rams paraphernalia, and so that's why Rodney's here with me today. I won that, and I picked him up today, so I brought him here for the ASB meeting, and he enjoyed it so much he wanted to stay. And I also got another button and a Temple City High School pen that says Home of the Rams. So I'll keep this here. Hopefully it won't leak in my shirt. Maybe I need a pocket protector. Okay. But anyway, it was great to see those performances as always. And I was particularly touched Friday night by the band's performance at the football game of their field show. I had seen it once before, and you know, it just, as I said to a colleague of mine who was nearby, you know, it really seems that they're in mid-season or late-season form, and it's so impressive what that group of students can do, and the leadership of the student leaders, the conductors, and the whatchamacallits. You know, that guy. But except it's not a guy. Yeah, the band leaders. So thanks to them and the herd. You know, I want to sit in the herd too, but they keep pulling me into the snack bar. So maybe for South Pass, I'll get to sit with the herd. I'm glad to see that the school year seems to be going well. So thank you to our staff for that. That's all I have. Superintendent's comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Pomeroy. As many of you know, it's Red Ribbon Week, so there's a lot of great activities going on at all the school sites. I was able to see this morning the Respect Character Assembly at La Rosa, and part of what they did, if you have an opportunity to go down to La Rosa School, one of the parents, who's also a former Temple City student, painted a beautiful rascal mural down there that expands one whole wing, and it's just an incredible thing, and the students really enjoy it. And it was a complete surprise. They told him his daughter was getting an award this morning, and so he was really shocked, and they presented him with thank you cards, and the kids all cheered, and so it was just a great event. And the students also role played how to be respectful, and it was a lot of fun to see students doing that. So I was able to visit some of the other sites and see the great activities that were going on, encouraging the students along the lines of character as well as making good choices. We also last week, working with Kate and Art, we took our front office teams as well as a number of our folks that interface with a broad range of individuals throughout the district to Nordstrom, not for shopping, but we talked to, we had the opportunity to interface with the store manager who did an excellent job talking about relationships, respect, service, customer service, service to one another. Talked about the inverted pyramid model that Nordstrom functions, and one I think that we believe in here, that the students and families are our clients, and we support all that goes into ensuring that we are doing what we're supposed to support staff, and staff therefore supporting one another, our families, and our students. And lastly, it's there's just so many great things going on here, and as Mr. Nolenberg indicated, I had the opportunity to speak to about 50 people a Sunday ago about the great things that are going on in Temple City School District. And when you have an opportunity to see all of the pieces that go into this, and the great work that our teaching teams do and our administration to ensure our kids have great opportunities, it's easy to talk about it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, next is written communications. Are there any written communications? I don't believe I received any. Okay. Yeah, okay. Moving on then, discussion information items. Items for which we will discuss and have information presented to us, however, we will not be taking action. And up first, under administration, number 18, technology update and vision for our district, Mr. Andy Harper. Good evening.
Board members, thank you very much for allowing me to present to you. Been here just about 3 months, and probably for 2.5 of those months I've really wanted to come talk to you about my vision for this network. I thank my team, decked out in blue, for being here. That's you guys. So hopefully this has a little entertainment value that everybody will enjoy. Try to make it pop a little bit. So we'll start off here. My little robot friend who will introduce the presentation to you. Could have thrown in some sound, but I decided no, I'll talk through most of these slides, except for the first one. So didn't introduce myself. I'm Andy Harper. I'm the Director of Technology. Again, I've been here about 3 months. So I want to talk about an update after 3 months, what my team and I have been able to accomplish, what the new network will provide. Let's talk about what it will provide before I tell you how we're going to get there. And then, of course, we'll have time for questions. All right, so what has my team and I accomplished in 3 months? This is just a few of the things that I picked out. We had some policy changes, one being admin access for teachers and staff. If you own your own machine, not own your own machine, but if you have your own district-provided machine, then why shouldn't you be able to run your own updates, change your own clock, do those basic basic functions that an adult should be able to do on their own device. So that was one of the first things. That's still in process. Most of the library staff are able to give teachers and staff admin access, and then when they can't, we set them to it. We did a policy change, no more blue backgrounds. There was I heard back that there was a concern about viruses with allowing people to have their own backgrounds. That's a little ridiculous, that's not the case. So why not let people put vacation pictures or whatever they want to do with their background? Because we know, a happy employee is a much more productive employee. So why not give them those little tools? See, I want to do this whole thing without using acronyms, so let's forget the MAC address filtering. And basically what we did is we opened up wireless. My attitude has always been, I want you to put all your devices on our wireless, because what does that mean? That means you go through our content filtering, we're protecting your student. If you have a phone, put your phone through the wireless. Now you're being content filtered by us, and we're not depending on you having 4G or LTE filtering. You're going through our network. And then this was a big thing, is future needs. Evaluated the whole infrastructure, all the wiring closets, all the equipment that's at our school, all the equipment that's here at the district office, what wireless we use, and tried to make a determination, what do we need for the future? Not worrying about any of the possible problems in the past, just moving forward. Let's move forward from here, and let's make this network what this district deserves. A quick little update on the website. That is one of my priorities, is giving Temple City a new face on the web, a new website. It's very much under construction. One little thing I'm working on is a little bookshelf there. We're going to put some training materials there, videos and stuff. And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to get away from the very structured type website that we have right now that looks like it's just a template that you can play around with, to one that's a little more free-flowing and gives us a chance to be creative. All right, so the fun stuff. What will the new network enable us to do? Here I go back to the students. I think the students of today, and the students have always been this, they're looking for success. And we should be a launch pad for that success. We shouldn't be like the guy on the log trying to just stay in one place. That shouldn't be their experience as they go through our elementary, middle, and high school. Those students today are looking at multiple paths. There's a majority of them that are going to go right into college. We should be able to, improve on that, make them more ready to be going to college. But there's also a big group that wants to go right into a career. They want to go into a trade, they want to go into a career, so we need to be focusing on that group as well, and why not provide those career readiness paths to them? So you might say, well, how does a network do that? Well, you build a big network with bandwidth. It's a network that supports everything. It's a network that not only supports technology today, but I say it's a network that supports emerging technologies. Technologies we don't even know about right now, but because we have a high-speed network with lots of bandwidth, it's a yes network. Of course we can do it. I like to take the can we do it out of the equation when we're talking about a decision to implement something new. Let's take the yeah, we can do it. Let's focus all the attention on should we do it. Is that what is best for our students? So as we just see a few career paths, there's the college path. Again, how does the big network enable this? Well, the big network and one key about the big network, that's reliable, that's always up and running, so that now that big network can give us access to experts. We obviously can't have a teacher that has all that real-world experience for every one of these careers, but a big network with lots of bandwidth does give us access to go out there and have access those experts that can really expand the different career paths that we can offer. and it's really just, I just think if those students can buy into that we're here for their success, whether that's going to college or going into a career, I think that'll just improve everything. They'll want to come to school for that. And that, again, that's the key. Some also things that are kind of near and dear to my heart are tech opportunities. How great would it be if a student that wants to get into technology and is interested in Cisco, that could go through a Cisco Academy in high school, get certified in Cisco Academy, then they graduate from high school, they're going to step right into a real job. Those tech companies would be very interested in a graduating high school student that's already Cisco certified. Same thing for Microsoft, for Google certification. There are so many specialties now within those certifications. They cover almost the whole gamut of networking technology. Phone system, I've heard that priority, that we have some better communications in our phone system. So that we'll be looking for devices with expanded services. One big thing for safety is enhanced 911. Enhanced 911 is something I've implemented before. It gives additional information to the 911 operator. So not just the address of the high school, for example, but the address plus the room number. And one big feature that E911 gives you is callback feature. So let's say it's a legitimate 911 call, that call's disconnected. That 911 operator can now call that room right back. It gives that path, it creates that path back to the original caller. So very enhanced communication, enhanced safety. Okay, so the big question, how do we get there? This is a quick slide where I'll get into more detail in the next one, but new network equipment, new network wiring, fiber connection, wireless, phones. So now let's talk about those. The school network equipment. We really, in my evaluation, was we really need to replace it all. I believe in standardization in network equipment. The network equipment should be the same. It should be the same with school to school, networking closet to networking closet. It shouldn't be different models. It shouldn't be different manufacturers. And it should be high-speed equipment. If we have high-speed equipment at the schools, we need higher speed equipment at the network core, which is the district, the third floor network and data center room. That needs to be faster. You can't install a network as a funnel and take all this traffic at your schools and then funnel it into slow equipment when it gets here on its way out to the internet. You actually need to flip that funnel over, and there's your traffic, but you got to have a lot of power in your data center so that not only, because we need to build a network that not only supports us for today, but supports us well into the future. And I'm really excited about some of the technology that we can now put in these networking, these switches, these routers, this network equipment that will easily last us 10 years. It supports such high speeds that in 10 years we will not have approached the capabilities of what that equipment can do. I've mentioned upgrade communication, update the data center. If you've seen our data center, we almost just need to create a data center up there rather than update it. School fiber replacement. You might say, all our schools have fiber. I found that all our buildings on those schools are not fed by fiber. Some of them are fed by copper, which is not a standard way to do it, so we need to fix that. But even if we didn't have problems to fix, we need to replace the fiber just for speed. But if we replace fiber with newer fiber, it supports much faster speeds. Again, speeds that we will not even approach in 10 years. So that just building that network that will sustain us today, tomorrow, and well into the future. Self-healing wireless network, what that means is you can think of a net. A net is a mesh they know about each other, so if one fails, the others increase the bandwidth, increase the speed, so that, or coverage, so that they can cover that missing one. And then the 10 gigabit bandwidth upgrade right now, we're, again, I won't talk acronyms, we're 1 gig to our sites, where by the start of next school year, I'd like us to be 10 gig to our sites, and 10 gig out to the internet. Even that 10 gig network, that gives us lots of room to grow, because next year we'll probably use 5%, every school will use 5% of that bandwidth, but we will have 95% to grow. And then an improved monitoring system. If we want our system to be reliable and always up, we need good monitoring. We need to know when something's going to fail. The equipment typically doesn't just fail, it starts giving error messages. So if we have a monitoring system that looks at those error messaging systems, then we can start being much more proactive as we're trying to keep this network up 99.9999% of the time. Management and support tools. We have some, we just need to update those and improve those. We need better remote support functionality, intelligent software deployment, improved content filtering, immediate support integrated. That's part of remote control, just some of those immediate support options. And what does that give us? Just a much higher level of support for our schools and our users. All right, the fun talk. How do we fund this network? Well, it's going to be multiple funding sources. Be those district sources. Big one, and I've had the opportunity to have a lot of experience with this, is large vendor discounts. It's one thing, if you're around me a lot, you'll hear me say I much prefer to work with manufacturers to hammer out big discounts. The purchase still goes through, I'm not anti-small business, the purchase still goes through a reseller, but I do all the negotiation with the manufacturer. Because you're not going to ever get discounts up to 72%, 75%, unless you're talking right to the manufacturer. And so that's what I plan to do. And had the opportunity with my account team, at least from Cisco, which will be a big part of our purchase. They came from Orange, where I was before over here. So same account team that gave me 72% Orange knows that's the starting point of the discount that we're going to get here. So I enjoy doing that stuff. And then we may have to look at lease to own. You know, this fits well into lease to own, into doing a lease purchase, because say we do a 5-year lease purchase, well, we won't even begin to approach the capabilities of this equipment in 5 years. So it fits into that. My preference would obviously be to use some one-time funds to do that, but I'm keeping at least my options open, so we may need to look at this purchase. And then E-rate funding. E-rate funding is great. It's federal money. We have to, very soon we'll be starting the application process for that, for money that you hope becomes available in July, but sometimes is not available until well into the next school year. So when you're trying to put some due dates to things, saying like, I want to be 10 gig to all our sites, if I depend fully on E-rate funding, then I can't guarantee that we can do that. So that's, again, where I'll go back to trying to get big discounts, possibly doing lease purchase, using one-time funds to be able to guarantee that we get to that service level, and then use E-rate to fund the rest of it. And so now, happy to answer any questions as our new logo expands there.
And there it is. Outstanding. Questions, board members? I have two board members looking at each other and negotiating who's going to talk first. I'll let you two work that out amongst yourselves. Okay, Mr. Nollenberg.
I'd just like to thank Andy for his Computer 101 class that he tailored for me to help that's one of the drawbacks for a lot of people who start out with computers is they see all the capabilities, but they think that it's so easy to do. And in some cases, it's the hardest part is to find the on and off switch sometimes.
Well, I hope that's one thing that people know about me now, that in 3 months is that I love to help people. All you have to do is ask, all you have to do is come see me, call me. I'll find the solution if I can't answer it right away.
Yes, and you assisted me also with my wireless access through a couple devices. So, and I hope our students who have wireless access, I hope that that's going relatively smoothly. Okay, good. Okay, Mr. Ellenberg, then
One
we'll
other thing that he attended one of the lessons learned for the school foundation who runs the summer school program, and they had some requests, and he was able to say positively that we could do what they wanted, what they needed to do to make life easier for them to run the summer school program. So he's proactive, and he's taking on the concerns of the different groups who need certain information, and people should be willing now to come back and ask for information that they didn't get before, because somebody said, well, we can't really do it, or it's too hard, or we don't know how to do it. Amy is in a sense just the opposite. He's saying it's easy to do, he can do it, and he's willing to do it. So I don't know, I'm just pleased that we have somebody that's proactive.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Tiet.
First of all, thank you for putting on this presentation. But I think I do have a couple of questions. First and foremost is the cost. How much is all this going to cost us? And I don't expect an answer right now, but that's just something that in my mind. You mentioned a 10 gigabyte system, fiberglass. I remember not too long ago, probably less than a year ago, we had approved several contracts with some vendors bringing in, what it was supposed to do was bring in fiberglass to a high school site, as well as providing us with 10 gig bandwidth. Maybe I'm wrong, but I remember that happening not too long ago with Mr. Block, and I forget the name. I don't remember the name of that company.
Aruba.
No, Aruba supplied the network, the wireless access points. But there was another company that we approved using E-rate as we were upgrading our bandwidth.
Probably Synesis. That's the fiber.
Yeah.
But we did, that contract is about a year and a half old. Of a 5-year contract. It's just, the problem with that contract is it does not have 10 gig in it. 10 gig was left out of the contract, so it has 1 gig pricing, and that's what we currently are. Because that was one of the things I tried to do first was, why don't we go ahead and go 10 gig right away? Well, the contract did not have 10 gig pricing, meaning if you want to go 10 gig, you have to do an addendum to the contract. Because it's E-rate, you don't want to do an addendum to the contract until after the first year, after the E-rate year, because you don't want to go months without a E-rate discount for that contract.
So, I guess my recollection is incorrect, that it went only from whatever that rate, at the speed at the time, maybe it was in, I don't know.
256.
356?
256.
256, sure.
I'm pretty sure.
To 1 gig? Okay, because I remember hearing that was a 10 gig, or maybe had 10 gig potential, or capability.
Well, I'd imagine if Synesis presented before you, they would be talking 10 gig. They always present 10 gig. But when it came down to the contract being created, the contract was 1 gig.
Okay. It's good to know. I guess if we go back and take a look at that contract, please. I'd be interested in the minutes and see what we approved there.
Yeah, one thing, I didn't go over that in wireless, one thing that I always like to do is not just focus on inside. So obviously we have an access point in every single classroom and one or more access points in any large area, like the library or any meeting place, but then also outside access points. You can't depend on, even if you have, let's say at the high school, we have 100 access points, they're all inside, you're still gonna have spotty outside coverage. Because when you have an access point in every classroom, those access points that are connected by mesh like I described, they power down their coverage. Because what you don't want is you don't want overlapping wireless. You don't want all these things full power overlapping each other. You're now not getting the coverage that you think you're getting by having one in every classroom. So they power themselves down, they provide the capacity, which is what we want, but we need outside access points to light up the area. Because I think really a 21st century learning environment includes outside. Teachers should be able to, if it's part of the instruction that they want to take their class outside and continue that lesson, that instruction, that should be seamless. If they all have devices connected. So we will do that by doing outside access points. And now, the technology's there. I mean, I'm picturing some of the access points I put in before where in elementary school it has a large grass field. Large grass field. 2 access points on 2 buildings lights up that whole grass field. And if the parents on the other side of the fence, if they have students, they can access that wireless as well.
Can I just follow up real quick? My understanding has been we've had wireless at the high school, we've had wireless capability at Oak, not necessarily using it, however. I don't know if it's the right time or place to discuss, were we considering having wireless access at other sites as well?
Yeah, we have wireless access at every site.
We have wireless access at every
Yeah,
site.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily complete wireless access. There are areas that aren't covered, both inside and definitely outside is not covered.
Right. But or maybe it was students accessing the network wirelessly, is that?
We've opened up some of what Andy addressed with the MAC address piece, that we opened up a lot of areas that were very controlled. The parts that I remember as a site administrators, we had access points, but it required students had to kind of move about the campus to find proper strength of signal. But a lot of that we've addressed. And so what Andy's been working on now is to have as much wireless coverage as we can given the current network configuration that we have. Because you'll recall, because I know I had it for the site that I was on, a map of where our access points were. And so Andy's taking the time to go back through all of those areas too, to really look at blanket coverage. Because we've had a lot of dialogue about the outside learning spaces that we could utilize a lot more effectively if students had that and teaching teams had that access.
And I don't think I covered the fact that when I'm talking about the infrastructure being 10 years, we could keep this infrastructure, access points are not included in that, because access points, that technology just keeps changing, keeps getting better and better. That's why we look at the access points that we have now are mostly wireless G. I don't really need to explain wireless G, but it's slower. Current is wireless N and AC. And then there's another iteration of AC coming soon. You're gonna be replacing access points probably every 2 years. Not a complete replacement, but in those areas that would need or that would benefit from the latest technology and access points.
Mr. Tim?
With respect to access point, you're saying we're using G now instead of N, or?
There's combination of G. Now, there's always 2 parts to access point. The access point can support AC, but there's not many devices that we have that support it. New iPhones, new Android devices, new Chromebooks, they'll support AC. But in addition to replacing the access point, you also need new devices.
Sure, but I think on the new Aruba equipment, are they able to support AC or just?
Very few. There's a few that are able to support AC, most of them support N.
Because I think, again, going back
to what we've agreed to now. Maybe my recollection is off again, but I remember we discussing AC, and we won it. You remember that, Mr. Bell?
I do, but I don't believe that it was completed. I believe we started out with N with plans to upgrade to AC, but that section never materialized.
Really? Because at the time when the contract was, now I'm sorry for having a history lesson here, but you know, I remember that we approved AC. Again, if you can
We'll go back. What we did do when Tech Masters were here is they pulled all the contracts. We went through all the contracts and looked at some of what was really in the contracts, what was delivered in the contracts. And without going too much back historically and because of our attempt to move forward, we have revisited those. We'll look at them again. But some of the understandings of where we thought we were and where we actually are not the same.
And I think thank you for that. I'm more concerned with what we paid
What we
for.
paid for, correct, and
what
we
got.
talked at length about that, but we'll recheck and maybe even provide that for you so that you can see this is really I think some of the presentation pieces, because I provided Andy with some of the pieces I had kept, were much broader and more general than actually what was delivered.
Okay,
So, or what even was promised, or what we paid for,
okay.
so.
Thank you.
Mr. Ridley?
Thanks, great presentation, real helpful, I think. And I guess I'm curious, have you assessed what's in this year's budget and what you're going to be able to do with that? And are you formulating kind of the next steps for us? And in order, I think I heard you'd like to have 10 gigabit throughput by the beginning of next school year. I assume that may require certain activities in this fiscal year. Are you gonna come back to us for a budget change?
Yeah, I'm formulating the pricing. I have some of the pricing. I haven't started hammering manufacturers yet for better discounts, because I'm still in the, okay, what are we gonna do? I have a pretty good idea on exactly what equipment we're gonna go with. I'm still looking between two wireless, both Cisco wireless both Cisco, one Meraki, one Cisco branded, looking at those two. But yes, I will come back with very detailed plan as to what we need to do. What I kind of mentioned with E-rate is if I want to make a guarantee for next year, then you're exactly right. I need to do some spending this year to be able to do that. If I put all my eggs in the E-rate basket, then it could be very disappointing. We still haven't gotten approval by the start of next school year.
Mr. Bell?
Okay, so you had me at 10 gigs. We speak the same language. I love your shirts back there. Nice. And, you know, I haven't said this ever my whole time here on the board. You should record it. You should record it. I am finally happy with the direction that we're going in terms of how we're going to build our infrastructure. This is, I think, what we really should have made an attempt to do from the very beginning. And as you said, the devices don't matter. Access points don't matter. These things evolve and change faster than, well, I don't know, a lot of things. But the infrastructure itself is core to the functionality of everything that we do in the district where the rubber meets the road, and that's with the kids and the things that they're able to use. I've always believed in a classroom without walls, and I think in this direction that we go in, we're going to finally be able to at least be a part of that solution to provide that. Now, obviously, there's curriculum involved as well. You know, this is, in my opinion, a very sound equipment choice. Cisco is very well regarded internationally. We will probably have we will less likely experience some of these current issues that we're facing now. And by the way, guys, I've been to your third floor closet about a month ago. I feel for you. We will do everything we can to help you there. You know, it's so paramount to the future success of this district that we have this. And again, you do it right the first time. You don't come back 5 years, you don't come back 10 years, you just do it right. Then we can focus on the things that matter, which is helping our staff to be able to understand how to use some of these technologies, and to be able to take advantage of opportunities, both for them and for the kids. So I can't wait. When can you get started? No, I'm just kidding. I didn't say that. But you know, I am honestly, I'm very excited. I think for the first time in, I guess, you know, since my daughter started attending schools here, I believe we are doing the right thing. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Further questions and comments? Mr. Nolenberg.
Just a general question. Do you see that we have a significant cost, say, this year or next year, and then it levels off? Or do you see us having a bump up in our costs continuous for the next 5 or 10 years?
It depends on how we approach it, you know. In my 3 months, I've realized, you know, I've seen overwhelmingly that this is a special district made up of very special people. And they deserve a lot better than they've experienced the last 5 or 10 years. So I would like to do this in 12 to 18 months and just knock it out. Because if you can do that, if you can create a starting point, then when I talk about that, you know, access point, well, let's you know, then it's more of those, well, let's put these 10 brand new access points here because there's a large amount of devices there that are using a lot of bandwidth and they'll really benefit from that. But we're not having to do all these wholesale changes. That's one thing. So we will have to spend some money this year, we'll have to spend some money next year, but we get it all done, and then the rest is increment when we need to. Or the other method is we spread this across 5 phases, and then we have an expense this year, an expense next year, an expense the third year, and we extend it out, but we have significant investment in years. I'm gonna explore all avenues, because we need to get this done. I really want to get this done. And if I have to just beat vendors up and tell them, you know, I need 85% discount or you don't have my business, I'll do that. I'll find other ways to pay for this. You know, that's why I'm not leaving lease purchase out of the equation, because we may have to go that route. Because lease purchase, we do have some good opportunities with lease purchase, because you have somebody like Cisco Capital who they're not in the business to make money off the finances. They want to enable purchases, so they offer very, very, very cheap financing just to enable the purchase. That could work in our advantage. But I will present several different options. Exactly what will happen based on all these different options and how quick things will happen. I have, like I said, I have a lot of the pricing, so I didn't ignore your question. I have a lot of the pricing, just not ready to present it. It's not complete where I can present options for you.
And just to assure the board that we spent a number of discussions on the financial part, working with the Queen of Cash as well, to ensure our intent tonight was hopefully that there's a sense of renewed hope. There's the excitement for the direction that we're going in, looking for some of the comments Mr. Bell made. We're extremely pleased with Andy and the work that's been done, the work on behalf of the team. And so we're prepared to move forward. He knows he has our full support, and we'll do everything we can to work on the financial piece, as we've already started a lot of that work. But as he said, we're not ready to put that out yet. The other part, just to assure you as well, we're working on the bond aspects as we continue to start construction and modernizing, that we're looking at what was written in, so that we're ensuring that we're working with Daniel and his team to make sure that we're covering that part. And then lastly, the big financial savings is Mr. Bell's concept of classrooms without walls. Without walls, we're going to save a lot of money in our building. So thank Mr. Dahl for that discussion and that idea. That's a great idea. We just saved money in order to fund technology now, so thank you. So I think we're in good shape. And Andy just needs that reaffirmation that we've been telling him he's doing a great job and we're going in a great direction. But it's nice for him to hear it, I think, publicly as well.
Mr. Tipp?
I just have one final question, and it relates to our website. When do you anticipate the launch date for the new site?
I'm gonna, a little renewed effort, you know, I jumped on it when superintendent and I talked about it, and then the start of school kind of redirected that effort, so, I was looking at, I actually hired a webmaster when I was at Orange, and then promoted her. So she's very motivated to help us, and she's a guru when it comes to design, you know, all the way from, you know, icon design to simple, everything. It's just, I don't know if the timing will be, I don't know if that can satisfy, you know, how quickly we want this done. And then there's one thing that's kind of missing if I get my former employee to do it, she's not a vendor that I can, you know, whip into shape if they're not performing fast enough. You know, she has a full-time job, and that's why I promoted her there, is because she got a lot more responsibility when I promoted her, so she's a busy girl, so. I'm saying that because I'm also looking at having somebody come in, just a contract to come in, because if we get a contract, as soon as we can get some requirements and some design on exactly what we want, and we've talked a lot, Superintendent and I talked a lot about that, we can have that done probably in a 2 to 3 month time frame, if not earlier, if not faster, with somebody, just a professional company to come in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, look, when I say 2 to 3 months, it's because it's bigger than just the front page, so just changing the front page, because, you know, that right now, that's an headline site, it's very much a template, but there's a lot more to headline than just the website, so we have to take that into consideration. The learning management system features that the teacher, especially our high school teachers, use, we can't just eliminate those, it has to be a complete effort, and it has to be a complete solution that satisfies all the requirements we have. So it's a big job. It's not as simple as just redirecting the front page.
Thank you, and I also want to just highlight and appreciate your part of your presentation about career training opportunities, and you know, look forward to hearing more about that in the future. And I certainly appreciate it. I believe the whole board appreciates that in your role, along with all the other balls you're juggling through the air, that you're able to think about that as well. And you know, with some new technology classes happening at the high school, and I know it's important to us to continue growth in that area. Other comments or questions for Mr. Harper? No? Okay, well, thank you so much for your time.
Slide.
There's another slide. All right.
So, time to start building that bright future.
That's
So,
good.
goodbye.
I said outstanding. Okay, some of us up here would want to spend all night on technology, but we have to move on, okay, people? All right, that was item number 18. Moving on now to our discussion action agenda, items that require discussion and upon which we are expected to take action. Under business services for item number 19, adopt resolution 1516-08, authorizing election under Public Contract Code section 22030 to become subject to the Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Procedures. We have Ms. Lowe and Ms. Sorrell here again, and we did address this at a previous meeting. So what's different about the resolution, if anything, now from when we
delegating authority to the CBO for signing contracts. So the only change in the resolution is that section 4 and 5 have been removed. Removing that.
Okay, and my recollection is that, and there were some questions from the board about that, it mentioned delegating not only to the CBO, but also to the designee of the CBO. It contemplated other employees actually making contracts, and then contracts come to us merely for ratification instead of actual approval. So from my reading of it as it stands now, even if a contract is awarded through this process, it will still come to us for approval the same way that every other contract does.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't mean to jump in if you had any more that you wanted to introduce about the
Now,
item.
just any questions that you would have?
Questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Ridley?
In the agenda report, there's a sentence that says, election to participate in this program does not require that the formal bid be eliminated for contracts up to $175,000. Could you clarify, once we've gone through this qualification process, will there still be a formal bid process, or?
Right, so when the bids are between 45 and 175,000, we will still go out for bid. We just will pull the bid process from the people who are CUPCA approved and who are on our list. Because we get to go once a year for advertising to collect trades on our list to be able to send our bids to them. That eliminates just an extra process of the bid process, just more of an administrative process of having to wait. We would still be presenting those bids to 3 competitive contractors. We would be able to then choose from whatever they present to us upon our discretion. So ultimately, when you go through the formal bid process, you have to go with the lowest bidder, which oftentimes then they come back with change orders upon change orders to then, you end up paying more. But you're locked into having to go with that lowest bidder, wherein with CUPCA, we can make that decision under the $175,000 limit. Does that answer your question?
Sort of.
Okay. I apologize.
So, no, that's okay. Sort of related to that. So you go out once a year and get your pool of qualified bidders.
Correct.
In the various trades. What if it's a small population? You only get 2 for a certain category, and the next category you only have 3. So when you do your bidding, you're only soliciting from those 2 or 3. And I just wonder, at the point that you're kind of concerned that something's not right, are we stuck with that choice? It seems to me, there's a little bit of risk, and maybe it isn't, because you're pre-qualifying them. So if you have a small pool, maybe it doesn't matter, but in my concern, I guess in my mind, the concern is, and there's lack of competition. They know there are only two in that category. They may both just arbitrarily bid high, and you're gonna end up going with one of them, because you don't really have competition there. So I assume we can still reject if we think, our advisors tell us, this should be a $130,000 job, and the bids all come in at $175,000. We still have choices.
Absolutely. And if we're proactive enough, in hopes that we're proactive enough, we see the work that needs to be done, we can, if we only see that we have 2 people on that list, we can go to contractors and say, you've done work with our district before, would you please go through our process to become CUPCA approved, because we would like to present this bid to you to see what you could offer. Absolutely.
If we had a project that we're not sure quite, we may be bumping up on 175,000, can we still choose to go through the formal bid process if we want to? I mean, does this sort of lock us in so that anything in that range, we would go through this process instead of going through the formal bid process?
We can always opt to go through the formal process, absolutely. It doesn't lock us in. It just provides us the flexibility and oftentimes things do happen in a moment's notice, and this allows us to be able to jump on that. We have a list of contractors that we're able to pull from, and we know in a ballpark, this is what we're to anticipate on this expense, and we can proceed expeditiously.
Okay, good. Other comments or questions? Okay, I think it's a good thing to do, and I appreciate you guys bringing it back, and I think there's a window here for pre-qualification, so it's important that we act upon this tonight. Is there anything else we need to know?
Just thank you for the opportunity to present it again.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion then that we adopt resolution 151608 as it's set forth here on the agenda under item number 19. Okay, that's a second by Member Nolenberg. All right, and let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Nolenberg? Mr. Conroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ridley?
Yes?
Mr. Kett?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on, item numbers 20 and 21 of the agenda are being pulled from the board's consideration tonight. Item number 20 is to award a contract to AJ Fistis, the low bidder for the Emperor Elementary School Modernization Project. 2 days ago, the district received a protest from ACC Contractors, the second low bidder on the project, requesting that the district reject the bid of AJ Fistis and instead award the contract to ACC. Under the Brown Act, since the protest was received less than 72 hours prior to this meeting, the board is unable to review and act on the protest at this meeting and is therefore unable to award a contract for the Emperor Elementary School project at this time. Also, item number 21 is to amend Teleco's contract with the district to provide construction management services for this project. Since the contract for the project is not being awarded at this time, it is premature to approve the amendment for Teleco's services for the project. And with that, we move on to item number 22, which is to approve an agreement with Nino and Moore for the complete special. Oh, we need to take a vote to pull. Well, I can't just move on by myself. Then I'm gonna make a motion for the reasons that I just stated to pull items number 20 and 21 from the agenda. Okay, second by Member Nolenberg. Any questions or any discussion about it? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Item number 22. To approve an agreement with Nino and Moore for the complete special inspection and materials testing for the Temple City High School Phase 1A project in the amount of $253,841. Mr. Rodriguez, good evening.
Good evening.
Let's see, is there more information to be presented to us? We do have an agenda report on this. Okay, so this is for, if I may, this is for investigations and inspection materials testing for the whole project. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. It's for every piece of material that comes on the project. Not every, a lot, like the block, it's a block building, the block has to be tested. The rebar has to be tested. All the welding has to be continuously inspected. So that includes all of that. When we're doing excavation for footings, the bottom of the excavation has to be tested. So that includes all of that for the duration of the project.
Okay, and this might be a dumb question, but I'll ask it anyway. So there's a fixed price of $253,841, and then attached to the contract is a schedule of hourly rates and things like that. So are we paying based on the services actually provided up to $253,841? Are we paying $250?
It's basically a time and material contract. So they put together, we actually work with all of them, all of the firms. We put together a general scope, how long everything should take, and then make everyone bid on that, so it's apples for apples. And then they can bill up to that amount. So more often than not, they don't bill the entire contract.
Okay.
So So, and we track that as well as the DSA inspector of the hours that have been billed.
Okay, if there are things that come up, if the weather causes delays or other issues, will this come back to us for request to increase the fees?
If it goes over that amount, yes.
I see.
But weather delays usually don't incur additional costs because they're not working during that time.
Okay,
So they're only billed when they are on the project.
and this is for materials, this is not for the land, not for the dirt. This is for materials. that get
Materials
brought up.
and testing.
Mr. Tiet?
Okay, maybe I just need to understand what they're doing more. I think I know Minion more as a geotechnical firm, so in my mind, they're responsible for testing the dirt and
They
testing
do,
stuff like
yeah.
that. But
They do that as well.
okay, but here we're asking them to test not the dirt itself, but the material that they're going to install on the site, right? Okay.
They do all testing services. They do hazardous material testing, geotechnical investigations, construction materials testing. They provide continuous inspection of the work. They do a broad.
Okay. Now, when they're doing the continuous inspection of the work, do we still have another inspector?
Yes, there's a DSA inspector that's required to be full-time. Nino and Moore is only required to inspect during the time of that particular inspection. So if there's someone welding, there needs to be someone from Nino and Moore providing that welding inspection continuously. Until they're done welding, and then they won't be needed.
So then are they required to, I'm assuming they're not required to inspect every well point, right? It's just, they just need to be on site in case something happens, or?
No, they need to inspect all the welding as it's being moved.
Okay, and then all the rebars as they're being.
All the rebar, they actually do samples of the rebar. They take some of the rebar back to their shop. They do tensile strength tests. They provide a report of their findings, and it's not allowed to be used on the project until all that stuff is done. So they'll be bringing out material, 3-4 months before it's needed, so it can be tested and approved. And once it's done, it's all tagged.
I concur that it's interesting. Testing of the soil is still happening right now. The substance, the bad substance that's found in the soil, that's not affected by this contract, that's separate.
Right, we're still waiting on the soil sample.
Waiting on the soil sample.
This is separate this piece of it is strictly the material part of the testing for the materials that will be used for construction.
Right, understood. Mr. Nolan?
This inspection also includes, like, the windows, that it meets a certain standard that's in the contract?
No.
Does it do the concrete?
Yes, yes.
So that there's a slump test or something like that?
Yes, and then there's concrete compression tests also,
Okay.
brake tests.
But they just do a random sample, or do they do every load that comes out?
Every load.
Every load? Okay.
Other comments or questions? I see in the fiscal impact that it was anticipated that it would be about 260,000 was estimated for this item, is that right? So it came in at 256?
Yes.
Okay. And, I'm sorry, 253. Okay. Anything else we need to know?
No, but the district has had really good luck with Nino and Moore in the past, so.
Okay. Are they working on any of the current projects, or?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's right, it's right here in the report. Other questions or comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion then that we approve the agreement with Nino and Moore for the complete special inspection materials testing Temple City High School Phase 1A project amount of $10,841. Is there a motion? We can still discuss it.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay, Mr. Tiet makes the motion, Mr. Nolenberg seconds, and Mr. Tiet, you have the
I'll
floor.
make a motion to enter.
I read it all.
Very good. But my question is, did this go out to bid and assuming?
Well, yes, it did. We put out a request for qualifications, and we did a public advertising for that request. So once we got all of them back, we did an evaluation of hourly rates for the scope of work that we needed for the project. And we came up with our durations for each scope and sent that back out to everybody that responded to the RFQ and made them give us the cost for that.
And how many actually came back the second time around?
There weren't as many, well, we got 14 initial responses, I think 9 came back.
Okay. And then many of them are the lowest?
Yes. And they had, well, they weren't necessarily the lowest, but they had the most complete package. We knew other firms were lower, but we knew, okay, well, they didn't have this scope of work. They're gonna come back after and want the money to do that work because it's required for the project. So, and More had the best hourly rates, but they also had a more complete package for the testing.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. Moving on, item 23A. I will make a motion that we approve the opening of a public hearing to discuss the board's potential approval of Larry Marston as the board's representative on the Personnel Commission. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by member Nolenberg. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so we're now in a public hearing. This is, the board has a spot on the, that we appoint to the Personnel Commission. Mr. Marston, who's in the audience, has very capably served in that role, and so we are we're discussing whether to reappoint him to that role. And so this is a public hearing at which point anyone here could make comments or ask questions.
I make a motion, we close public hearing.
Do we want to give Mr. Marston an opportunity to say anything? Would you like to say anything, sir?
I won't take your time tonight.
Okay, you're willing to accept the appointment again?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it, and we appreciate your work so far. All right, apparently there's a motion on the floor to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by member Nolenberg, second by member Tiet. All in favor? Aye. Okay, now I will move that we approve Larry Marston as the board's representative on the Personnel Commission. Second by member Nolenberg. Any discussion, comments? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, that's fine. Okay, moving on, item number 24, which is to establish that a potential tie in the November 3rd, 2015 governing board member election will be resolved by lot, to be presented by Kathy Perini. We have an agenda report on this item, and the agenda report obviously says that this is something that we have to decide because another option would be to actually have a runoff election. Now, this is in the circumstance that at the election, which is scheduled for Tuesday, if there's a tie, we have 3 seats up for election. If there's a tie, we could choose as a board to pay for a runoff election. And so the agenda report is suggesting that we not elect in advance to pay for a runoff election, but instead to choose that the tie would be determined by lot. And I would point out that there was a Temple City Council election that was determined in that same fashion. So are there questions or comments? Mr. Tiet?
What in the heck is a lot? Flip a coin? Is that?
It's a random selection. You can do a flip of a coin, you can draw the short straw. It's a random outcome that determines the outcome of the tie.
Yeah, or put names write names on there, and put them in, a random selection is true. Is that right? Is there anything, I'm sorry, I introduced the item and I turned to you.
Okay, trying to take it natural, there's just no time. No, there's really nothing else, it's merely a formality as you expressed, and
And the cost
the
of...
lot is an old term.
Right.
It goes way back to It's part of ed code,
It's
yeah.
in the code, right?
Right, it's
So-
part of ed code.
And the fiscal impact mentions the cost of the governing board member election itself being $125,000. A runoff election would be, well, similar, right?
For runoff election, $155,000.
Would the runoff be 125? The 125 is what we're paying for this election.
Well,
You have to pay for it again.
again,
That's their estimate. Okay, all right. Do we know how much this election's costing? Yeah, that's their estimate for that. Okay, so the runoff would be the same. Again, that was my question. Okay, anything else? You know, okay, all right. Did anybody move anything yet? No, all right. Well, I didn't want to make a motion while you weren't here. Your name's on the agenda. I'm sorry. Well, what's your motion, sir?
Just so we, if there's a tie, it will be resolved by law.
Thank you. So you're making a motion that a potential tie in the November 3rd, 2015 governing board member election be resolved by law. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Second by member Ridley and member Tiet together.
Are we going to remove what kind of a lot? Or are we determining the lot after the thing?
I don't think we have to determine the manner of the lot. Okay, we have a second by member Ridley. All in favor? Aye. All right, moving on. Thank you. Item number 25. To receive for second reading and approve a revised board policy and a revised board bylaw. Board policy has to do with administering medication and monitoring health conditions, and the board bylaw is board bylaw 9100 regarding organization, an organizational meeting. So I'll make a motion that we go ahead and receive and approve those. Is there a second to that motion? Second by member Nolenberg, thank you, but let's have some discussion. Questions or comments? And Ms. Rodriguez is here to answer any questions we have regarding, is there anything you wanted to tell us up front? We appreciate being here. Okay. Questions?
Do you have questions for me?
Yeah, I think I have a question too. Anyone else have a question first? My question has to do with the language regarding the training for staff, unlicensed staff who might be administering medications, and who would do that training?
My recommendation would be the physician, because there is no standardized training for it. There's no standardized documentation for it. So I would put it on the physician to create that training and supervision, because as a nurse, there's nothing I can hold out to another nurse and say, yeah, this is equitable, this is how you do it, this is how you do it. There's no standardization for it.
Okay. Do we know, so the language, as I understand our board policies, when they come up for amendment or for refreshing, that, that we look at CSBA language and then administrators review that language and sometimes make changes. So do we know in this particular, on that subject, was that something that was?
It just said training by, and it didn't say by whom,
Okay, all right,
so I put that in there.
okay.
right, well, you'll recall that typically we take CSBA's recommendations because they are defensible. However, sometimes, as Nancy indicated, there are not the specifics. That's often left purposefully open-ended because every district is different. And it's something we take seriously, because the licensing that nurses have, if they were to lose their license, that is really it. They are not practicing anywhere else. It's not like something that you just lose and go renew. You've lost your license. So it's something that we spent time, and Nancy spent a lot of time, and there's a hotline to call if any of our staff has questions, any of our health services staff, to ensure that we're doing what's right, obviously on the part of the student, that's the most important, but also
Correct,
to
and that's
ensure
the other
we're doing
piece
what
of
we're
it,
supposed to.
is that when it comes to an unlicensed person, there's not the same amount of training, the same background, the same knowledge base as someone, a licensed vocational nurse, or me. It's someone just, out of the goodness of their heart, okay, I'll do it. I fear for that child's safety, so I would rather have the physician step in and do that training, because I want that child to get the best care. Insulin is life or death, and you can really cause a lot of harm if you give too much. It's not an emergency medication, it's not like epinephrine or Diastat procedure. A kid can go without insulin for a given amount of time and be just fine. However, if you go the other direction and get too much, it's critical. Because it's such a dramatic medication, I would rather put that in the hands of the physician to do the training.
That makes sense.
Does that?
Well, I guess let me just follow up real quick. As far as the training,
Of the unsupervised stuff.
right, and I just want to say that, to have staff who are not licensed want to step up and take on that additional responsibility, really, and I understand we have one or two who have stepped up, and which is amazing to me, and we're very appreciative, I know, as a board, that our staff is willing to do that. But the requirement to have a physician do the training, that's not in any way to sort of slow down the process. The district would support the person getting the training and would, that's not meant to be any kind of roadblock to the person getting trained, right?
No. It's to put the training in a different set of hands than just the registered nurse. It's to have the actual physician or the clinic at Children's Hospital with their diabetes nurse educators provide that training.
And we would support them by, for example, the employee might go during working hours. As a district, we would support the employee getting that training.
I imagine so. I think.
Yeah, definitely. We wouldn't suggest it if we didn't support it fully. Part of it for us too is as we do the policies, it is not just for the moment in time. Many times they transcend several years. So Nancy's doing a great job, but she may opt to go elsewhere at some point, and then we have a procedure in place that maybe another nurse comes and says, this really isn't something that I feel comfortable with. So it makes it very clean.
The other piece of it is I'm a generalist. I do school nursing, which is my specialty, and I look at community health, and I have case management skills. But because this diabetes is so specialized and it's coming with more technology, I feel that the diabetic nurse educators and endocrinologists are far better prepared than I am to do that kind of training and supervision.
Mr. Ted, did you have a question? Or Mr. Lee?
I do have a question, and I guess it goes back to liability that the district may face if something were to go seriously wrong. I know, like you said, it's letting you go without for a certain period of time, but if you administer it incorrectly, now we're relying on an outside, a non-district employee to train a non-unlicensed person to administer this drug, and if something happens and it goes wrong, then are we opening ourselves up to some liability without the ability to train this person?
That's a really good question, and the way I think that we as a district have met that liability is that we do actually have a licensed nurse at every school site. And for example, if one nurse is out sick, I cover. If I'm not available and that nurse is not available, I can call 5 other nurses to come and meet that child's need. This is just an extra piece in the case of, pretty much in the case of a catastrophic disaster. Because we have, including me, we have 7 licensed nurses in the district.
Art can elaborate on that, but this is just another means to provide additional support should the need arise. So we've talked about the liability in context of the safety and security of a student and our students, because we have a number of students that have situations such as this. So we've talked a lot about what the parameters are and the liability, not putting our employees in any jeopardy, but also what's providing several different steps, should we not be able, which would be highly unlikely, that occur. We've done other things, but Art's also spent a lot of time from the personnel side of this board policy as well.
Mr. Tidd, I think I know where you're going with it, and you are correct. Anybody who does administer under the guise of working for the district falls under the umbrella of the district. So they would be covered under any legal protection by the district. Now, one of the things that was not made very clear by legal was whether or not training performed by our licensed staff would jeopardize their license if somebody did not administer properly. So they did share that if Nancy were to do the training, she would be protected by the district. However, her license may not be protected. They're two separate issues. So the licensing issue for Nancy, it really is a risk for her to take in order to train other folks. And then she also runs the risk of somebody doing something improperly, and then she has to be the one to live with the fact that whether it was her training or not that caused that error, it happened. They really did suggest that it would be a doctor that would do that sort of training, but they're not sure what the liability would be for Nancy as far as licensing goes. But we would be covering anybody who administers under our umbrella. Is that what you were getting at?
Mr. Whitman?
Yeah, and I think the recommendation that we have a physician facilitate the training or a nurse educator that's really trained in the specialty to do it makes perfect sense to me. Kind of and I'm happy with these recommendations and these changes. However, I would, when we had changes to these, they've all generally been, and I think almost every time we've asked, the changes have been those changes recommended by CSBA that have then been reviewed by CSBA and their attorneys so that we know we're making a good change that's legally worded properly. I would like to see us have some kind of protocol or something that when we change it at the district level from what CSBA is recommending, that we have some way of documenting that, and that then provides an opportunity if we feel the need to have it run by our attorney to make sure we've crafted the wording correctly. I think that would be beneficial.
And we can indicate that, but we also did run this by our legal counsel as well.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Okay. All right, well, we're balancing a few things here, but there was a court case 2 years ago that indicated that diabetic students had a right to receive insulin at school, whether there was a licensed nurse there or not. And so, the board, the revised policy, I think, comes out of that and trying to balance that as we're doing here. And I appreciate the district being willing to provide what really is sort of a backstop. Again, I very much appreciate the staff who would be willing to step up and assist in situations like that. So unless there's no more comments, any more comments or questions, did we make a motion? We did. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Ms. Rodriguez, for being here. Consent agenda, routine items approved by one motion and one vote unless a member of the board or audience requested any item be reviewed and voted upon separately. Are there any requests to review or vote upon any item separately? Hearing none. I will make a motion then that we approve the consent agenda, which are items 26 through 32 on the agenda. Is there a second? Second by Member Nollenberg. Any questions or discussion? Yes, Mr. Ridley.
I have a couple of questions on item 27, Pacific Clinics is listed as TC 156174.
Pacific Clinics is one of the agencies that we use through our mental health and guidance teams to provide support, training. They'll often come in. Much of the work they do with our teams is without charge. And they provide suicide prevention, guidance, and direction to our counseling and mental health team in assisting students. And also, they are also one of the agencies that have individuals that speak languages other than English. And so that they also offer some free parenting support as well. And Pacific Clinics is one of the vendors that we've used for a long time.
So the not applicable is they're providing those services gratis?
Typically, they do. Some of our families contract with them separately, but that doesn't have any impact on us.
And Ms. Perrine, if I might add, the Dr. Leonard Learning Center is the one that forwarded this contract. Chris has worked with Pacific Clinics as an outreach to service his fragile student body.
And then if I may, I'll go on ahead, just two more. TC 134077, the Orbach Suarez et al. I'm not sure what the change is. I know we've always kind of asked for legal terms that there be a not to exceed amount stipulated, otherwise it appears to be an open-ended contract.
We can come back with the not to exceed. This is, as you're well aware, this is in regards to all the area of the bond contracts. So, and requiring Sharon's review as well as the other aspects of that. But we can definitely set an amount. The contract was never set up because we don't use her. We only use her when we're bringing something to you that requires review. So we can set it up that way if that's your desire. But the contract wasn't initially negotiated that way.
So she's been doing work with, it is an open-ended contract.
Right, because she was hired by the board at the onset of the bond.
Okay. Yeah,
So we can assign an amount to it.
Colleagues, I just like knowing there's a cap there.
The lawyer laughs.
That's why I like that cap. My third one had to do with the Craftsman construction. I'm sorry, I don't have the reference. There's about 5 vouchers. I'm wondering if there's a contract, if there's a PO.
Where are you on this?
Craftsman Patriotic Construction.
What number?
It's 100. Line 100 on the POs and express vouchers, 100 to 104. The totals, I think, over $100,000.
Right, and those are all part of the senior circle contract.
I had a question on that. Is this incremental procurement, or do we have one master contract, or do we have?
No, it's incremental because based on what we set as the budgeted amount, we tried to also getting input from the site, what additional we could do in order to make that project as complete as possible, given the design is, hopefully in the future there would be phased, but we have to look at it in terms of the larger picture of what we're doing at Temple City High School.
So each one is a separate standalone contract?
Yeah, because some of it, we didn't know that once we got into it, how much more extensive it would be, because you'll recall that area was areas with mounds, so we didn't know once we started to remove those mounds, would we get into other things. So we broke it into amounts that we felt were affordable and didn't commit us to a long-term contract, and as we work through that entire area.
So as far as with the law firm, what's the suggestion to?
We can come back to you with a not to exceed amount. What we'll have to do is go back and project to the future the amount of work that we're going to require of the firm as far as we move forward with a number of the contracts. Some of them obviously require more time, others far less.
What was the length of the contract?
It's extended to 2017. It started right after the bond was approved.
So is a suggestion then to pull that contract and not approve that?
We can.
Is that what we want to do?
That'd be fine, unless we have a feeling now that we have sort of an awareness of what kind of dollar amount you want to set the threshold at.
Well, we would have to, because now as we go into the largest project of the bond, we're going to have to project out.
Then I would say pull it and bring it back.
I have a further question regarding 100 through 104. Did this go out to bid, or is this part of the thing that's exempt from being bid out?
Because it's part of our deferred maintenance.
Okay,
So Mary Ann can elaborate a little bit more on that if you so desire.
just to educate me on the rules regarding that, if she could.
I'm sorry, I was reading this, I didn't know you asked me, sorry. Oh, so when it's an item that's for deferred maintenance, the rules are different than when you're going out for new construction, and I'd be happy to send you the details of that, which I could, if you'd like to see that. I'm gonna forward that to you.
No, that's good enough.
Okay, okay, I'm happy to do that.
No, thank you.
Sure.
We're trying to do, I know the board knows that, but we try to do every project, setting that not to exceed amount to see how far we can go, and to use Andy's terminology to pound in each of our providers, what more can we squeeze out of a project. And so we were pleased with the work that we got out of Craftsman as we added different sections to expand the use of the area for our students.
Any other comments or questions? So then, was it my motion? Okay, so then I guess I'll amend that to remove that one contract, which is TC 134077, but otherwise to approve the remainder of the consent agenda. Seconded again by Mr. Nollenberg. All right, let's see, do we have any resolutions here? We're not resolving anything, are we? Yes, we are. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Moving on, board comments, I should say board requests for future agenda items or for information. Are there any such requests? Mr. Ridley.
Just the one that we developed some kind of protocol to clearly delineate what is district change rather than CSBA recommended language and changes to board bylaws or policies.
Thank you. Other requests? Okay, hearing none, then I will make a motion that we reconvene to closed session to discuss.
We have to close this anyway.
The next thing is to reconvene closed session, right?
Yes.
Before adjourning, to discuss the third item listed under item number 4 of the closed session agenda. So is there a second to such reconvening? Mr. Nollenberg, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Aye, thank you. Closed session again.